The time is precisely 6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe and read by Chandima Veerakorn. Headlines. Former Western Province Governor Asad Sali further questioned. A series of guidelines issued for airline passengers arriving in the country. 7,000 small-scale solar power projects are to be added to the national grid. A census of private sector employees who lost their jobs due to pandemic will be conducted. A project to plant 100,000 trees in the Colombo city will be launched. In news overseas, the UK vaccine rollout is expected to be slower than hoped. In sports news, Tokyo Olympics creative chief resigns. Local stories in detail. Police media spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana said Mr. Asad Sali, who has been arrested, is being questioned. He said Mr. Sali is being questioned to find whether he was helping terrorists or supported Easter Sunday attacks when he was the Western Province Governor. Investigations are being conducted to find the identity of the firearm found from his vehicle. A series of quarantine guidelines for all airline passengers, including tourists arriving in the country, has been issued. Director General of Health Services Dr. Asela Gunawardena said that permission should be obtained from the Foreign Ministry, other relevant organizations, and from the Tourist Board when entering the country. Minister Udaya Ganmanpila says that government expects to add 7,000 small-scale solar power generation projects to the national grid in future. The minister mentioned this while attending Energy Transition Dialogue 2021 of German government online yesterday. Expressing his views, the minister said that government hopes to introduce energy-efficient buildings, equipment codes, grading of equipment, and other standards. Minister Nimal Siripala De Silva has requested to provide information about private sector employees who lost their jobs during the COVID pandemic to Labour Department. The minister said that their data will be gathered to look into whether they can be provided with any relief. Commissioner General of Labour Prabhat Chandrakirti said that information should be sent before the 1st of next month. Further information can be obtained by calling the telephone number 011 2 368 502. The number once again, 011 2 368 502. The project to plant 100,000 trees in the Colombo city will commence on the 20th of next month. The Wildlife and Forest Conservation Department said that they expect to plant 100,000 trees during an year. Steps have been taken to provide 15,000 plants at the inauguration ceremony. The project will be implemented by the Colombo Municipal Council together with 3,000 organizations. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
HDFC Smart Goals. All it takes is 3 years.
Continuing with the local stories, State Minister Siripala Gamlat says that a program has been launched to provide 100,000 land deeds this year by solving Mahaweli land issues that have not been solved for decades. He mentioned this while attending a mobile service to solve land disputes at Kotmale Mahaweli Zone office under Mahaweli E-Zone. State Minister Dilum Amunugama has stated that transport services will be improved for the benefit of students, public and private sector employees in the Jaffna Peninsula. The State Minister has advised the officials of the Sri Lanka Transport Board to take appropriate action in this regard within the next 2 weeks. Velanai Pradeshia Sabha member Anusya Jayakan had requested the State Minister, who visited Jaffna yesterday, to rectify the transport problems prevailing in the Jaffna Peninsula. Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage visited paddy stores in the Vidyapuram Odisdan in Mullaitivu district yesterday. The minister advised the authorities to provide additional vehicles for paddy purchasing. The minister told the media that the government was expecting to purchase 300,000 metric tons of paddy. Minister Mahindananda Aludgamage said that he is happy to note farmers in Mullaitivu are providing paddy to the government. Colombo Fort Magistrate has ordered to give the final report about the 6 bank accounts investigated related to the case filed against Dhanuna Tilakaratne before the 21st of next month. Dhanuna Tilakaratne, who is the son-in-law of former Army Commander Sarat Fonseca, is accused of committing malpractices when providing equipment to the army. To end the local news, the headlines again. Former Western Province Governor Saad Salih further questioned. A series of guidelines issued for airline passengers arriving in the country. 7,000 small-scale solar power projects are to be added to the national grid. A census of private sector employees who lost their jobs due to pandemic will be conducted. A project to plant 100,000 trees in the Colombo city will be launched. That ends the local news.
Darling, our daughter has top O-level results. You know what this means?
Yes, just 3 years and she'll be going abroad for her degree.
For which we'll need a bank loan.
But is a normal loan the smartest option?
What else?
The smartest way is to start an HDFC Smart Goals account.
Let your child begin their degree with no delays. Start an HDFC Smart Goals account. Call 2356 888.
Honey, you're so smart.
HDFC Smart Goals. All it takes is 3 years.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vidya Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vidya Mahatmya.
On the main news story, Anuradhapura District Regional Manager of the Paddy Marketing Board, TMN Tennakon, says that 2,500 metric tons of paddy have been purchased from farmers in the Anuradhapura district. Purchasing of paddy commenced in February. A guaranteed price of 55 rupees for a kilogram of paddy is being given, and paddy is purchased by visiting the farmers. Regional Manager Nimal Ekanayaka said 825 metric tons of paddy have been purchased from the farmers in the Polonnaruwa district. 2,200 metric tons of paddy have been purchased from the Eastern Province. Regional Manager Ajit Kumar said that there are 4,300 metric tons of paddy in stores in the Ampara district. 1,505 metric tons of paddy have been purchased from the Northwestern Province. Regional Manager R. Veranga said that they expect to purchase 40 metric tons of paddy from the Northwestern Province. That ends the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vidya Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
On Watchlight, environmentalists say that mangrove system in lagoons of the southern province is threatened with destruction. They said the mangroves in Ginganga, Nilwala River, Maduganga, Madampa River and Radgama Lagoon are being destroyed. They pointed out that high-speed boats carrying tourists and people filling the banks of rivers have led to this situation. They request the authorities to take steps to protect the mangroves. That ends Watchlight.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always. All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Headlines of the world news. The UK vaccine rollout is expected to be slower than hoped. Court rules against restart of Tokyo area reactor. Donald Trump's wealth takes a tumble during presidency. Britain said today that global supply bumps meant its vaccine rollout would be slower than hoped in coming weeks, but it is expected to increase again in May, June and July. British health officials warned yesterday that the world's fastest big economy rollout of the vaccine would face a significant reduction in supplies from the 29th of March. Pfizer Incorporated and AstraZeneca plc said their delivery schedules had not been impacted. A Japanese court has ruled that the only nuclear power plant in the Greater Tokyo area should not be restarted, citing insufficient safety measures in the event of a major earthquake. The Tokai No. 2 nuclear plant is located in Ibaraki Prefecture, northeast of Tokyo. The Mito District Court handed down its ruling today, stating that feasible evacuation plans are not in place for a major accident at the plant. According to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index, Donald Trump's net worth dropped by about $700 million during his time as president. The COVID-19 pandemic hit his fortunes hard, with Mr. Trump's office buildings, branded hotels and resorts losing revenue and falling in value. His fleet of planes and golf courses has also seen drops in their value. Mr. Trump is currently under a criminal investigation into his financial affairs and his family business. To end the world news, the headlines again. The UK vaccine rollout is expected to be slower than hoped. Court rules against restart of Tokyo area reactor. Donald Trump's wealth takes a tumble during presidency. That ends World News.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always. All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Development News is brought to you by Nivea along with CIB. Valuable gift vouchers for every bill payment and 20% discount for bank card holders during 16th to 30th March. Our product, our place. CIB.
Moving on to development news. Sri Lankan Airlines prepares to conduct flight engineering and maintenance activities at international level. It is being implemented according to an agreement with Engineering and Maintenance Division of the airline with Hotel 360 Company. Head of the Engineering Division, Shivanta Veerasekara, said that they would be able to provide full engineering services to Airbus 320, A321 and A320. That ends development news.
Development News was brought to you by Nivea along with CIB. Valuable gift vouchers for every bill payment and 20% discount for bank card holders during 16th to 30th March. Our product, our place. CIB.
Moving on to sports news. Tokyo Olympics creative chief has resigned after suggesting that a female comedian could appear as an Olympic in the latest setback for the Games. Hiroshi Sasaki said plus-size entertainer Naomi Watanabe could wear pig ears at an opening ceremony. He later apologized and admitted his remarks were a huge insult to her. Miss Watanabe said has not yet responded. The incident comes after ex-Games president Yoshiro Mori was forced to quit for making sexist remarks. The two-day training match between Sri Lanka team and West Indies President's team commenced in Antigua today. At the close of play today, West Indies President's team was 103 for 1 wicket in their first innings. Batting first, Sri Lanka team were all out for 172 runs. The match between Sri Lanka legends and South African legends in the Road Safety World Series cricket tournament will be played today at Raipur in India. The match will begin at 7 p.m. It is the second semi-final of the series. That ends sports news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Business News
Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Moving on to business news. Hutch recently demonstrated the fastest 5G speed ever achieved by a Sri Lankan telecom operator in its inaugural 5G trial event at Hutch One Golface Premier Experience Centre. Hutch teamed up with ZTE, a global leader in telecommunications and information technology, for this groundbreaking 5G trial, which included several demonstrations and use cases of 5G. The 5G trial consisted of several demonstrations, among which the Ookla Global Broadband Speed test illustrating Hutch scoring a speed of 1.8 Gbps as the fastest ever 5G speed in Sri Lanka. That ends business news.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news. Courtesy of
Just move on real time, save more, LOLC real time. Paying the premium for transactions, simply save now real time. Day night, no trouble for your transactions. LOLC real time. Download LOLC Finance real time app for your LOLC savings account. Attractive interest rates, transactions anytime, anywhere with a zero cost and more benefits.
On economic news, the Fisheries Minister Douglas Devananda has said the government intends to implement a national economic policy to encourage domestic investors. He said the development of national industries in the north is in line with the President's Vistas of Prosperity policy. He said this at a meeting of the Jaffna Kilinochchi District's Livelihood Committee under the National Programme for Improving the Rural Economy. The meeting of the Livelihood Committee was held at the Jaffna District Secretariat yesterday. That ends economic news.
Hello, Puta, did you land already?
No, Amma. We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
Oh, really? How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy. She might be feeling very uncomfortable. The airport must be heavily crowded because it's a season.
Amma, calm down. Everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge. There's nothing to worry.
Those who spread goodness radiate happiness to everyone around them. Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
And finally on the weather report, the Met Department says the possibility for evening thunder showers over most parts of the island is high during next few days. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places over most parts of the island during the evening or at night. Fairly heavy falls above 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in Sabragamua, southern, western and central provinces. Showers can be expected in eastern and Uva provinces during the morning too. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in central, Sabragamur and western provinces during the morning. That ends the weather report. And to conclude this bulletin of news, the headlines once again. Former Western Province Governor Asad Sali further questioned. A series of guidelines issued for airline passengers arriving in the country. 7,000 small-scale solar power projects are to be added to the national grid. A census of private sector employees who lost their jobs due to pandemic will be conducted. A project to plant 100,000 trees in the Colombo city will be launched. In news overseas, the UK vaccine rollout is expected to be slower than hoped. In sports news, Tokyo Olympics creative chief resigns. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.